So, yes, we have here now a really incredible panel, because we heard from the previous one, which was really nice, and I like the intro, that actually we are in the quantum year. 2025 is the quantum year, and the question is, what does this mean? 100 years of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, but what does this mean for quantum computing? And I have the pleasure, really distinguished guests here, and panelists who will answer all the questions you ever wanted about quantum computer, and especially if we talk about quantum computer and AI. So, but what is so special about a quantum computer? Nick, give us an intro.
So the good news, first of all, it's great to see all the interest in quantum computing. We've, as an industry, have worked very hard to achieve that level of interest and bring the world into quantum. Because in the end, quantum computing is going to impact everyone in the world. And it is with that I will describe what it is a quantum computer does. So a quantum computer is simply the next generation of computing. It is a completely different type of computer than, for example, a classical computer, including a GPU. So instead of using bits to do calculations, we use something called quantum bits, or qubits. And the good news is you don't need to understand any of the maths or the physics behind what these concepts you hear about, like superposition or entanglement. What you need to know is that a quantum computer will allow for exponentially faster problem solving in really important areas, like that my panelists will go into, like discovering new pharmaceuticals, discovering new materials that will be able to aid in areas like climate change, and in other areas like financial services. So in summary, a quantum computer is an entirely new form of computer. It's not an incremental improvement. It's an entirely new way to build a computer based upon the principles of quantum mechanics that will be used at first by larger enterprises, but that will have an impact on everyone's daily life in some of the ways that I mentioned.
Okay, thanks. So, something completely new. But Andrew, where are we? Are we still in the kindergarten stage or elementary school in the development of quantum computers?
Well, it's funny. I feel like I should make the obvious joke that we're somewhere in superposition between kindergarten and high school. Quantum computing is very early, but I think maybe the one point that I should make is that what really matters from quantum computing is quantum math, quantum equations, the things that you can do with a quantum computer. And the interesting thing is that in the last couple of years, the development of these GPU platforms, so these are the kinds of computing platforms that NVIDIA has gotten incredibly rich making chips for, we can now run quantum equations on GPU platforms so we don't have to wait. So this is the exciting moment that we're at right now, is that a lot of the things which will be awesome when Nick's company reaches commercial production and I can go sign up and use a quantum platform, that'll be great. But in the meantime, we can do that stuff on a GPU platform for drug discovery, for new chemicals, for new alloys, and so forth. And let me just make one other point, which is, the kind of human drama of technology is always that a new technology is incredibly beneficial and incredibly threatening. It's always the case. Social media lets you talk to your friends and poisons the universe with disinformation and propaganda. Quantum computers are going to enable much faster calculations that will allow us to do science better. They're also going to allow us to decrypt encrypted communications. And that presents a massive challenge akin to the Y2K problem, but on steroids. And so we have to be attuned to both of these things. I think it's worth saying that the Chinese are investing massively in quantum infrastructure. Their ability to decrypt our encrypted communications and our encrypted data is going to happen a lot sooner than they're public about it. So we have to anticipate that they're going to reach maturity in those threatening capabilities much faster than you're going to see a press release.
Mm-hmm. So quantum computer will allow us to solve problems that we cannot solve today. But on the other side, you said harvest today, decrypt later. So what do we need to do there?
Yeah, well, the internet and all of the data that we depend on is encrypted using a set of standards. We know what a quantum attack will look like. We know what kind of math a quantum computer will make possible. And so the standards bodies in the United States, it's called NIST, and its European equivalents have been collaborating on standardizing quantum-resistant protocols and standards for encryption. We have to upgrade everything that uses encryption to be quantum-resistant.
Okay. So 2024 was an incredible milestone of quantum computing. And there was, we heard already in the previous panel, the Willow chip. And the Willow chip, just to say, if it's correct, that it performed a computation under 5 minutes that would take today the fastest supercomputer 10 septillion years. Never know what septillion is. It's a number with 25 zeros behind. So why is this a breakthrough?
Thanks, Gabi. That's a really great question. I mean, I think it stands to reason. This was a great demonstration of quantum advantage or a quantum speed up, right? In order to execute this, we had to fabricate a chip that satisfied that broke state or that set state of the art for performance guarantees in qubit quantity and qubit quality, and in a holistic benchmark, most holistic benchmarks across the board for quantum computing. And Gabi mentioned one of the 2 breakthroughs that we satisfied, which was a benchmark. You know, this random circuit sampling is kind of the thing that we like to test. It's the way that we can tell how much of a quantum speed up we've achieved so far in one very specific task. But this task isn't one that has practical application. It's a task that you can achieve when you have error rates. So every time we do a simple quantum operation, there's a chance that it might go wrong and just ruin our calculation. And currently these error rates are about 1 in 1,000. For us to find practical applications, for us to reach this general purpose quantum computing, or for quantum computing to start returning on the investment that's been poured into it, we estimate that we'll need to get error rates of about 10 to the minus 9, 1 in a billion. That's about a factor of 1 million gap. Now, to break that, to bridge that gap, there's a great theory. It's called the theory of quantum error correction. And our team is working very, very hard on implementing this theory and developing a fault-tolerant quantum computer. And the second breakthrough that Willow achieved was a demonstration of quantum error correction. For the first time, we could show this exponential error suppression. We need exponential error suppression in order to get past this, to drop this 1 million gap. Okay. And this is important because this is a benchmark that can't really be faked. It was 30 years in the making. This has been predicted since the mid-90s. And it really required not just to have the largest quantum computer and the largest number of qubits, not just to have the best performing qubits with the lowest error rates, but across the board holistic performance. And I think this is why people are really excited about Willow, because the holistic performance is required for scalability. Willow is still a baby. And Willow is almost at milestone 2 in our 6-stage milestone towards a fully fault-tolerant quantum computer. It's a very large process to scale this up to what we expect would need to be a 1 million qubit fully fault-tolerant quantum device. But holistic benchmarks like this are necessary in order to show that this scalability is possible. And I think this is why people have been really excited about the Willow chip.
But Nick, we don't have one quantum computer type. We have several hardware approaches. Why?
Well, so depending on who you ask, there's about 6 or 7 different ways to build a quantum computer. And this gives us 6 or 7 ways that will be able to reach quantum advantage, or let me just say the ability to solve useful problems with a quantum computer. So, for example, discovering new medicines. Let's focus on that as our question. So let's say that our goal is to discover new medicines, which will many people think will be one of the first applications of quantum computing. So the fact that we have between 6 to 7 different ways that we might be able to attack this problem means that we have a much higher chance than if there were only one way to build a quantum computer. So my company, we use the same fabrication that we use in today's cell phones. So our belief is that that will allow us to create a quantum computer much faster than some other methods. On the other hand, other companies, such as Google, have their own tricks up their sleeves that will allow them to create quantum computers faster than might be expected. So without going in, we don't have time to go into all of these different 7 categories, but the point that I would really like to make is that because we have all of these different ways, well, there's 2 points I'd like to make. Number 1 is that because we have all of these different ways to build a quantum computer, that means that the chances are better that one of them will succeed sooner than people expect. And the second one is that, and this is especially for the investors and whatnot in the audience, I do not believe that it's going to be winner take all. Some people say, oh, there's only going to be this one type of quantum computer that at the end will be the only type of quantum computer. You can have hybrids quantum systems where different quantum computers work together for tasks. It could also be that a certain type of quantum computer, for example, one called ion traps, is better for use in medicine, whereas another type, let's say superconducting circuits, is better for use in finance. So it could be, there are many different ways that it could break down, but the fact that we have these 6 to 7 different ways is really exciting because it means we have many different, more chances to get to the end goal of useful quantum computing much faster than if there were only one way to build a quantum computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just jump in to really support Nick's remark here? We don't have a crystal ball at Google, and we think that our technology is one of the most promising, but we're really, really happy to see other companies like Nick's also work in the field because it's not a competition right now. We have such a big challenge, such a wonderful challenge in front of us in building a quantum computer that it's going to take a world of quantum experts, a world of engineers, a world of computer scientists. The workforce that we need is growing more and more diverse by the second. And all of this is going to be needed. We need a more robust supply chain for different types of quantum computers. All of this is going to be needed if we want to succeed and we want to turn this quantum dream into reality.
So to emphasize what Ann-Christine said in the previous panel, ecosystems. We need to build ecosystems, bring different stakeholders together, and to combine, develop applications and the usage scenarios.
Absolutely. And the application side is another thing that should be mentioned. We have ideas for we have proven use cases that exist at the numbers that I mentioned before, but I don't know that something won't exist earlier. And to this end, Google recently, along with GEDSA and Google.org, our charitable branch, and the X Prize Foundation, obviously, we launched a $5 million X Prize to go run over, now it's got 2 years left to run, for the purpose of finding new low-cost applications of a quantum computer that were in line with the UN sustainability goals.
Okay. Now we have the title, Quantum Meets AI, Andrew. What means if hungry Gen AI algorithms meet the really good quantum hardware? What happens then?
Right. Well, so the combination of AI and quantum is the exciting thing. I mean, quantum computing on its own, AI on its own are doing interesting things, but when you put the two together, you achieve capabilities that are really kind of mind-boggling. My argument, and I guess if I could try to create a little bit of like provocation on the stage, is that what the hardware companies and researchers are working on is super important, but we don't have to wait, and we shouldn't wait. What really matters to human advancement is quantum information science. In other words, the equations of physics, chemistry, biology that describe how the world works at the molecular level. We are making dramatic advances by running those equations on these incredibly vast GPU platforms that have now become very widespread and that are driving this insane wave of investment in data centers, the electrical infrastructure to power them, and the generative AI that comes out of it. The trick at the moment is to be able to use new flavors of AI. We call it quantitative AI, but new flavors of AI that really would like to be running on a quantum computer. But we don't have to wait because we've now developed methodologies that allow you to build the kind of generative AI engine that gives you pattern recognition, causation, correlation, finding in a massively complex multivariable environment the patterns that you need, but at the same time, producing results which are accurate and which are true to the fundamental equations of science. That's the moment that we're at right now, and we don't have to wait for quantum computers in order to take advantage of it.
Can I add one thing to this? Mm-hmm. One thing that's exciting is that as everyone, not everyone, but as many understand, there is a tremendous challenge with the power consumption associated with AI, in particular the GPUs. And our quantum computer, which at the scale eventually of about 1 million qubits, will cost around $350 a month in energy consumption. An incredibly low amount of energy consumption. And quantum computers across the board are generally incredibly energy efficient. So one of the biggest advantages that you may see in quantum computing is not necessarily the ability to do, well, certainly to do new things, but also the ability, once we meet quantum in AI, which is a great challenge. I was always skeptical about talking it up too much until now there have been papers in Nature and Nature Communications about quantum and AI. So we now see that there is possible merger for quantum to somewhat supercharge AI. But to be very concise about this, the energy consumption is what's very exciting. Because if you're able to have a quantum computer at exponentially, orders of magnitude energy consumption compared to using GPUs, you have an incredibly exciting new future that allows us to unlock the power of AI without the climate impact of GPUs.
Mm-hmm. Tom, what is your view about quantum AI? Quantum plus AI, quantum AI?
I think firstly it's just important to acknowledge the amazing trajectory that AI has taken over the last couple of years. This is really astounding. But there are going to be some problems, like hard computational problems, that AI can't solve, either sometimes just due to a lack of training data, where it's just impossible to generate enough, or secondly, because of fundamental results in computer science that say you can't solve this problem in a short amount of time. And this is the niche where quantum computing fits in. So for instance, take AlphaFold, which has been a colossal success over the last couple of years. And it's amazing at predicting protein folding, but it doesn't do such a good job in predicting tertiary structures of proteins. And this is because it doesn't have the training data. Now imagine I take that and I take a quantum computer and I use it to do accurate simulations of these tiny parts of the tertiary structures that the AI doesn't have the training data for, and I can build a hybrid system that can achieve better than the sum of its parts. This is where we think quantum computing will fit in. And it's important to note, even if we go to an error-corrected quantum device, a qubit is still fundamentally more noisy and more sensitive and harder to control than the bit in your computer. And so quantum computers will always play a role parallel to classical computers. They will be helping them, but a job that a classical computer can do very well, a quantum computer may not be able to do better than.
If I could just add, a technique that we're using now to get ahead of the curve while we're waiting for quantum computers is generating data to train the models from first principles equations of science rather than generating data from prior data. So this is a technique we would love to just take the data that we have, extrapolate it, run it on a quantum computer. But in the meantime, a technique which is quite powerful is to build a training data set which describes the world based on the equations that physics and chemistry have developed over the last 100 years. And then you've got training data which, if the equations are accurate, and mostly they are, describes the world as it is, and that allows us to get ahead of the quantum computing timeline.
Absolutely. So we will now take a crystal ball, yeah, and see from your three what will be the biggest surprises in quantum and AI, or quantum, in 2025, sorry.
In 2035. Is that 10 years ahead?
No, this year,
Oh, this year, 2025.
2025.
I think the biggest surprise is that the pace of medical breakthroughs by simulating and predicting how small molecules will bind with misfolded proteins, let's say in the case of neurodegenerative diseases, is going to come much faster than people expect. We'll be able to develop drug therapies much more quickly. In some sense, what everybody here should be trying to do is like stay alive for 10 years. Because what's going to come to market and what's going to get through approval in the next 10 years is going to be genuinely transformative in the way that we treat persistent diseases like cancer, neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
Okay, Nick, what is your view?
I think we're going to have a clear line of sight on the first useful commercial problem. Now, I don't think we're going to solve a useful commercial problem in 2025, but I think we're going to know what that problem is, and I think we're going to have a clear line of sight on the computational needs to solve that problem, and I think that will put us on a pathway towards solving commercial problems within 3 years.
Tom?
So I guess we have two milestones that are on our roadmap that are coming up I can talk about. One of them is actually exactly what Nick says, what we like to call quantum benefit, demonstrating a quantum algorithm with a speed up that is not just random circuit sampling, that is an amazing achievement, but not yet practical, finding something that will actually benefit humanity. And our second milestone is to push further on this error correction to what we call milestone 3, which would be a 1,000-qubit device with error rates around 1 in a million. Now, 1 in a million isn't a billion. This is not at the point where we can commercialize this technology yet. But it's at that point, we'll have really demonstrated this exponential error suppression. We'll have really shown a path towards a fully fault-tolerant quantum computer, and you'll be able to, and this will build trust from the scientific and the business communities that we are going to get there.
Mm-hmm. So, to have some final words, you have seen quantum computing, we are at the beginning, we are still in the kindergarten, but maybe elementary school already, but the potentials are immense. And especially if we meet quantum with AI, generative AI, I think we need to be there 10 years more to see what will happen in this new era. And let me conclude, the beauty of quantum computing is the ability to compute what is seemingly uncomputable. So completely something new. And we love to see this because it will change our life. And I hope we will have a lot of discussion also at the next DLDs because this topic will be hot for some years now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.